Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday morning, August the 13th. We'll focus in on the tropical scene in the Atlantic Basin. Of course, we're dealing with Erin, a tropical storm as of the moment. It has been rather consistent over the past couple of days with maximum sustained winds of around 45 miles per hour or so as it slowly churns to the west. It's encountering some dry air. We'll take a look at a moment at a map of Sahara Desert dry air that it will encounter over the next 24 hours or so. It will soon move over much warmer waters of the tropical Atlantic, so I do believe it will become a hurricane probably by sometime on Friday, and potentially a major hurricane of Category 3 sometime over the upcoming weekend. Could continue to be a strong indication that this system will never reach the U.S. East Coast. It will curve first to the northwest, and then to the north, and ultimately to the northeast, again, before ever reaching the U.S. East Coast. And we'll go through a few of the reasons why that is the likely scenario at this point in time. Here's the latest map from NOAA's National Hurricane Center with the location right around this area of Tropical Storm Erin. Again, it became a tropical storm, officially named Erin on Monday. Very consistent over the past couple of days, moving to the west, and maximum sustained winds holding at around 45 miles per hour or so. Still quite a ways from hurricane threshold, Category 1 hurricane threshold. I do believe, I kind of agree with this sentiment here, that in a couple of days, maybe 48 hours or so, as it starts to move over increasingly warm waters of the tropical Atlantic, it should become Category 1 hurricane. Then over the upcoming weekend, quite possible that it reaches major hurricane classification. That's Category 3 or above, right in this area over the upcoming weekend, and then likely to start that curve to the north and ultimately the northeast by the early part of next week. Well, let's focus in on a few more maps regarding Tropical Storm Erin. This is a colorized infrared image from the University of Wisconsin's tropical website known as CIMSS. Very good website for tropical information. Right here, the west coast of Africa, and here, of course, is the U.S. This is the system, not particularly a large system at this point. Again, kind of maintaining moderate strength as a tropical storm over the past couple of days, continues to move generally in a west direction, and it will start to encounter some warmer waters right in this part of the tropical Atlantic Ocean. So maybe 48 hours or so it becomes a Category 1 hurricane, and then 24 or 48 hours after that, over the upcoming weekend, it may reach Category 3 major classification, and then it starts the curvature before ever reaching the U.S. East Coast. At least that's the way it looks right now. There are other waves here about to come off of Africa, and of course we'll monitor those over the next few weeks. Now, one of the nice maps you can get at that University of Wisconsin tropical website, CIMSS, is a map of the Sahara Desert air mass that this time of the year can move from the northern part of Africa westward, riding along with the trade winds this time of the year into the tropical Atlantic. And it's indicated on this kind of a map here in orange. This is the location of Tropical Storm Erin right now, and it is moving in that environment where there will be some dry air, and that is a main reason why it should not intensify much at all over the next 24 hours or so. And beyond that, it'll kind of escape that dry air out over this area, and also move over warmer waters of the tropical Atlantic. So we do believe it will intensify first to a hurricane and potentially to a Category 3 major hurricane status, but still quite a bit of desert dry air that it has to encounter over the next 24, 36 hours or so. And speaking of those warmer sea surface temperatures, this is a map of the current sea surface temperatures, not the anomalies, but the actual temperatures here, the actual magnitude here. And Erin somewhere in this location, right in this area right here. And again, not only does it have uh, dry air to deal with over the next 24 or 36 hours or so, it's relatively modest sea surface temperatures that it's pushing over right now, but it will continue to move in this fashion and soon encounter very warm conditions here. This is 86 degree Fahrenheit type temperatures here over the tropical western Atlantic Ocean here north of the islands. This is at the Dominican Republic and Haiti and Puerto Rico right here. So again, we're very likely to increase to a hurricane status here over the next 48 to 72 hours or so as it moves on top of some very warm waters. By the way, that would be the first official hurricane of the 2025 Atlantic Basin season. This is the fifth named tropical storm. Well, a couple other maps related to this particular tropical system here, Tropical Storm Erin. One of the things I always like to look at, and any longtime viewer of the videos here know, I like to look at historical weather conditions because what happens in the past certainly can repeat and give some clues as to what could happen in the future here. And this is a map of, given the current location of Erin, which is right in this area right here, these are the historical tracks associated with Erin from this particular starting point right here. Of course, it started way down over here, but vast majority of these, historically speaking, curved off to the northwest, then the north, and the northeast before ever reaching the U.S. East Coast. So I definitely take this as kind of an important indicator here from a historical point of view, that from this kind of southern latitude starting point here, chances for curvature are quite high, at least based on history. And again, it's certainly, to me, something I like to take a look at. So kind of an interesting map here. Very few of these tracks made it to the U.S. East Coast. The majority curved before ever reaching the U.S. East Coast. And here's another map I'd like to show here. This is the ensemble forecast tracks from the European model run here from late yesterday, and it has a very, very good indication here that this system will in fact curve away before ever reaching the U.S. East Coast. A couple of days ago, there were at least a few ensemble members that were forecast to track the system into the U.S. East Coast. Not even one now is reaching the U.S. East Coast. This is all good news. This particular map was posted by Ben Knoll at the Washington Post here. Again, this is the compilation of ensemble forecast tracks from the European model run of late yesterday. All good news here, indicating curvature before ever reaching the U.S. eastern seaboard. Well, let's get back to the continental U.S. In this particular case, I wanted to show a radar map of the mid-Atlantic region. We're seeing something here we haven't seen for many, many days. Some rainfall. There's some scattered showers and thunderstorms across the western part of the northeastern states here, western New York, western Pennsylvania, even down across West Virginia. There certainly can be some shower or thunderstorm activity in the I-95 corridor region later today into the evening hours tonight. That's from D.C. to Baltimore to Philadelphia to New York City. And it's possible some of these storms can be strong with downpours on the table here. There's quite a bit of moisture in the air. Many of these afternoon storms will be rather slow movers, so look for some shower thunderstorm activity across the I-95 corridor region later today into tonight, something we haven't seen for several days in the Mid-Atlantic region. Now let's take a look at last night's zero-Z run and walk through the 500 millibar height anomaly forecast maps, and then we'll take a look at the surface maps. So, one of the red flags I always like to look for this time of the year with regard to tropical systems, strong upper-level ridging over the southeastern part of Canada that tends to open the door for tropical systems to make their way from east to west towards the southeastern part of the U.S. or towards the Gulf or Caribbean Sea. And That is not going to happen here. That is one of the reasons why I do believe this system, Erin, will curve away off to the north and northeast before ever reaching the U.S. East Coast. We'll move through here. We do start the day here on Wednesday with strong upper level ridge over southeastern Canada. But that moves off to the east, and another one does reform here. Now, this is kind of a worrisome sign, but this is for the end of the week. And watch what happens as we go through the upcoming weekend. Not all that impressive at all here as far as being in the southeastern part of Canada. There is that ridge back over the Great Lakes, and here's the first reflection here at this particular time at the 500 millibar level of Erin, which at this time should be a hurricane, potentially even a major hurricane. Then we do see this upper level ridge here over the eastern Great Lakes by early next week, but it's pretty much eroded by this trough here over the southeastern part of Canada. So instead of having strong upper level ridge here early next week over the southeastern part of Canada, we actually have a trough of low pressure. That again is another reason why I believe this indeed will curve away from the U.S. East Coast. That a red flag that I look for this time of year is just not there to help to push this farther to the west. And we'll see how all this evolves. Still several days away, so of course we'll closely monitor the situation. We'll go all the way out to the middle of next week and then final to the latter part of next week. This trough tends to expand in nature and impacts the northeastern states with some nice weather, more nice weather for the month of August across New England and down to the Mid-Atlantic region, let's say by the middle part of next week, with that upper level trough situated over southeastern Canada. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps, and for the first time in a long time, we've seen some rain here across at least the western portions of the Mid-Atlantic, western portions of the northeast U.S. There is a trough that will develop, and you can kind of see that trough on the isobar pattern right here. You see a little bit of a drop in the isobar pattern right here. That tends to indicate there is a surface trough that is going to form on just on the east side of the Appalachian Mountains. That tends to enhance convergence or enhance upward motion, so it should basically enhance the chance for afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms right here in the Mid-Atlantic region, and that includes the I-95 corridor region from D.C. to Philly to New York City. Some of the afternoon and evening thunderstorms can reach strong levels here, potentially even an isolated severe thunderstorm or two as well later today into tonight. Downpours are possible. We have what we call high precipitable water amounts in the atmosphere, basically a lot of low-level moisture that, if sufficient lifting takes place, can be squeezed out of the atmosphere and dump some heavy rainfall. And indeed, that is on the table for later today and tonight. That lifting action will be produced by that developing trough just downslope of the Appalachians here. And the threat for showers and thunderstorms will continue through the evening hours and then wane during the late night hours. But it's not over with as far as the northeastern states are concerned. There will be another frontal system, a weak cold front approaching on Thursday, and that can regenerate some showers and thunderstorms Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening, and then that passes on by, and we should be setting up for basically dry and warm weather across the northeastern states for that Friday, Saturday, Sunday time frame. Not intense heat, but maybe 90-degree highs by the time we get to Saturday and Sunday in much of the Mid-Atlantic, northeast U.S. And again, we have this high pressure over southeastern Canada at that particular time. Then we'll go a little bit farther out in time into the early and middle parts of next week. And here we go. We start to see that curving, what likely will be Hurricane Erin at this particular time by early Monday. And again, no strong upper level ridging at this time over southeastern Canada. In fact, there's that trough that is kind of pushing slowly to the south and east and expanding, and that basically will help to keep this system away from the U.S. East Coast. In fact, by Tuesday night of next week, a little bit of a front right in this area right here, backed up by that low pressure aloft over southeastern Canada. This is kind of moving in this fashion, and this will continue to move on in that kind of a direction and tend to help to pull in some of this refreshing air mass into the northeastern states for the middle and latter parts of next week. We'll go out a little bit farther in time here. This is now next Wednesday, a week from right now. And here it is, Erin at this particular time. Again, it could reach major hurricane status as it moves over to that 85, 86, 87 degree water over the western Atlantic Ocean. But this is a beautiful Canadian high pressure here a week from right now, centered just south of Hudson Bay in Canada. Again, some very nice, refreshing air for much of the northeastern states. And as that Erin system moves off to the north and east, it tends to help to pull in that air into this part of the nation all the way through the latter part of next week as well. So, of course, we'll continue to closely monitor Tropical Storm Erin. I expect it will not gain in strength too much over the next 24 or 36 hours or so, but then likely to reach hurricane category 1 status at the end of the work week here, and then potentially major hurricane status over the upcoming weekend, and then curve off to the northwest, then the north, and then the northeast before ever reaching the U.S. East Coast. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.